Want to see how I wired this up for light? Stand by and I'll show you. So what I'm going to be doing in this video is showing you how I took LED strips, put them in this wooden base that I made, and wired them up so they produce light. Very easy, very simple, very low power, so there shouldn't be any worries of electrocuting yourself or anything like that, but you do need electronic tools, soldering, blah, 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 blah. Anyways, let's take a look and see how it's done. So the nice thing is you can buy really cheap LED strips from anywhere. These are from the wonderful world of Wall, i.e. Walmart. They're $5 for, I think, like 6 feet worth. They're not very condensed together or nothing special, but they'll work for here. They're 5 volts, which is the big part, because using 5 volts you can use any of your standard USB plugs. Like this one, for instance, if you read on the output, it is even bigger, 9 volts at 1.67 amps, or 5 volts at 2.0 amps. So this will draw 5 volts, which is what you need. Had these made on my CNC machine, just a little block where the LED strip will fit inside of it. Power block to test out the cable. Just a basic micro SD or micro USB cable, wire cutters, and soldering iron, etc., etc., etc. We have these copper lines with a line through them, and then RGB, and then plus 5 volts on each strip. I can tell you that these bricks are made to hold 3 LED strips in them. So what we're going to do is we're going to go 1, 2, 3, and just cut right across there. Don't mind the old dog barking in the background. He's old. That's all he does is whines and cries and complains. So all you do is take your cord, cut the end off, very simple. Trash that. Take some wire strippers and just start cleaning up. Now you can see that there's 4 wires, red, green, something, something, something. We're looking for red and black. Black is ground, red is power. The other 2 are needed. The other 2 are for data when it comes to the cord itself, which we don't care about. There we go. 1 power, 1 ground. Now, before we get down, I'm going to show you this. It's plugged in. It's not going to hurt you. It's not going to electrocute you. It's 5 volts. It's tiny. This power brick is also rated for 5 volts. It's an old one. 5 volts at 2100 milliamp total. Now I'm going to show you how it works when it comes to LEDs. You'll notice you have this silicone cover on top to make it waterproof, and then you have a sticker back. These stickers suck. Maybe because they're the cheap Chinese crap that Walmart sells. Or they might all be like that, I don't know. That's where hot glue comes in later. So obviously you can see what I did here was just peel off the silicone protected so you can access the LED terminals right there, or the electrical terminals. So the way LED works is you have your 5 volt, which is your power. And then the other channels are either red, green, or blue, or you can mix between them or just leave them solid. So I'm going to first hold the power to the 5-volt. And then just for demo, I'm going to attach it to another color. As you can see now, the negative is on red, the negative is on green, blue. Depending on how good you are, you might be able to mix them together. But in this case, I'm just going to make a blue one because somebody ordered a blue light. While this heats up, I'm going to get this ready. I use a little scrap piece of wood to help hold the wire in place, or the LED in place, since this is just really floppy and hard to control. But now I have a back to it, so it's easy, so it stays in place. Solder with flux in it. Just waiting for this thing to heat up now. It looks like it's almost there. I just started by making sure that the solder will melt, which it does. And I'm going to first put a little dot on the 5-volt. And I'm going to put a little dot of solder on the blue. Because what I'm going to do now is do the same thing to the wire. It just helps in being able to solder them together when there's solder on both of the wires already. So put it on the wire for a second, let it heat up. There we go. This copper stuff just helps clean up the tip because it'll get dirty. So now first thing I'm going to put on is the 5-volt, which is the power. So red will go to that. I don't know how I'm going to do this where you can see it, but there we go. Red's on there. Now let's put the blue on, or the ground. And of course, the way you test this, plug this mofo back in, see if it works. We have blue. Simple as that.
Five minutes later.
Now that the hot glue is up and running, I just make sure it's in place, that the wires will fit. But I'll get rid of this sticker back first because it's, like I said, a pain in the ass. Just a tiny bit of hot glue to hold it in place. And yes, I'm not hot gluing everything in place because the backer piece is going to get glued right down to it and hold everything there. So a little super glue everywhere. While it all gets placed into position, and then I'll just let the super glue do its thing for a moment. And that was it. You now have a base with a blue light in it. And what I usually do is I take the acrylic sign that's going to go in it and I push it down so the sticky back will stick to it as much as you can. Let me turn off this light. And now, as you can see, you have your blue base, your acrylic light, or your acrylic sign. And when you slide it in, when it's lit, it lights up. Trying to do this through the camera lens. There you go. Hope you enjoyed that.